break, let's get into our player ratings, and let's start off with Vicario. 7s all round for Vicario, and look, for the goal that we conceded, I don't think he could have done anything about it. It was just a wonder of a strike, to be honest, right into the side netting. But he did make some crucial saves for us throughout the game. There was one in the first half where he got down low. I actually thought it was a much better save live than when I saw it back. I thought it was pretty much a routine save getting down, but he did make one really big save in the second half as well. And everything that came his way, I thought he dealt really well with. Playing out the back was fairly good as well. So good display from Vicario. But what I really like about Vicario is how he organises his defence, how he's constantly in the ears of his centre-backs and his full-backs. And he seems like a bit of a leader there at the back, and he looks like a proper keeper.
He should probably get another point for that run he did for the goal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The celebration,
unbelievable. He somehow got there in like 5 seconds, quicker than bloody Usain Bolt. I don't think he got there so quickly. But yeah, great save from Vicario, which kept the game at 0-0 at that point, and that was a crucial save. I don't think he made too many other saves other than that, did he? And any saves of note anyway. So I think it was a really solid display. Getting used to saying maybe Vicario doesn't have too much to do, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I think it continues his good start to the season, to be honest, and I'm really liking how we're settling into this team.
And he also came for a few crosses and corners and gobbled them up with ease, to be honest. And I feel like Vicario is like growing in stature in this team week on week. I can't believe how good he's been, to be honest. I keep saying it, but I was absolutely like not happy with Vicario after the first game and what he's shown in pre-season. But he has grown in confidence, grown in stature as the season progresses. So big up to Vicario. Couldn't wish. I mean, and now I'm preferring him to David Raya. Who needs an Arsenal bench warmer? Next up is Pedro Porro. 7s all round for Pedro. I thought it was a really strong showing from him again. Maybe not as strong as it has been in previous weeks, but there was one really nice moment when the ball came to him and he completely dummied the defender and went the other way, and it started us on an attack. But I thought defensively he was okay, maybe lacking in 1 or 2 situations, but going forward and really providing an option for us in that middle of the park, I thought he did really well. Yeah,
another strong display, maybe one of his more quieter ones, but again, he showed his moments of quality in patches. Although I would say he was quiet, but he'd actually had 4 key passes on the day, so clearly he was involved a lot in the attacking moments as well. Yeah, I was pretty happy with him. Another really solid display. I think a lot of the time people were like are worried about what he's like defensively, him being caught out, but he hasn't really been caught out since he's come into the team, to be honest, and he's shown that really solid side to his game, and he still provides that threat going forward as well when given the opportunity. His crossing ability is fantastic. I think it might have been his cross which Richarlison headed over the bar just before he scored as well. So I think he's doing a really, really good job for the team. But he clearly ran his socks off because I think he had to go off with cramp as well at the end of the game. So yeah, such a hard work.
It was him on the floor, wasn't it, where Romero was giving him a stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's talk about Romero now. 8 all round for Kuti. Another brilliant display from Kuti Romero. I don't think he maybe he could have done a bit better for the goal that we conceded, but apart from that, I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest. The whole game, aggressive, bringing the team up the pitch, lovely dinks into the midfield as well. I thought Kuti Romero is growing in stature. I think he actually gave away a foul. Did he give away a foul yesterday? That's it, his first foul of the season, finally, Kuti.
Well, what about this? 13 yellow cards, not one of them for Romero.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So what odds would you add on that? 13 yellow cards for the game. Romero wasn't one of them to get booked. Still no yellow card for him this season. I think, again, showing the responsibility he has on the team. And I thought Cameron Archer he had in his pocket, absolutely. I thought Archer threatened on a few occasions to do something, but Romero just had him knocked down. I think McBurney was more Van de Ven's guy. Romero kind of just dealt with Archer whenever he had the ball. And I thought when we were pressing Sheffield United late in the game, I remember there was one lovely dink pass into Højbjerg, and then Højbjerg heads it across the face of goal, and it leaning goes for Richarlison. It gets headed out for the corner, which we eventually scored from. That was a really lovely moment from Romero as well, and I think his passing ability is improving game on game as well. I think it's so incisive, and I think another really strong showing for Romero.
Absolutely, but for me, all the plaudits, well, not all the plaudits, but most of the plaudits in the back line goes to this next guy, which is Mickey van de Ven. I thought he was absolutely sensational. Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 9, especially in the first half when Sheffield United threatened on the counter-attack. He was putting out fires left, right and centre with strong challenges, aerial ability, bringing us up the pitch as well. I just thought from a defensive standpoint, Mickey van de Ven was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he dealt with McBurney fairly well. I would say I thought McBurney was getting the better of him aerially more often than not. And I think the stats bear that out as well. I did see that during the game. I thought McBurney,
what's the stat saying?
I thought McBurney was winning a lot of headers. If you go to the aerial duels, Mickey van der Ven won 5 out of 15 and McBurney won 13 out of 21.
Bloody hell.
McBurney was really dominant aerially. Not just of Van der Ven, but whoever was competing.
I was just sitting there in awe of Mickey van der Ven during the game.
He won a lot of them, but Bernie was like, he won 13 out of 21, which goes to show how strong he was in the air. But I thought, by and large, especially when the ball was in general play, he was absolutely stalwart. I thought he complimented Romero so well again. I thought it's again on the ball, so composed, progresses the ball so quickly, and he's just looking more and more confident as the games go by, and he's looking to take charge of these situations. And he's such a delight to watch. He's so graceful on the ball as well. Yeah. Is that you got the bulldog in Romero, and you've got this graceful centre back in Van der Ven next to him, and it's such a great partnership. And they're really growing together week on week.
Yeah, I mean, everyone around me was just going, this guy is just Vertonghen on steroids. That's what people were saying in the stands yesterday. And that's what it seems like. He seems like Vertonghen, but with just so much more pace.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And taller. He's taller and more pacey than Vertonghen.
Next up, our left-back Destiny Udogie, 7s all round from him. I think it was, compared to his other games, fairly quiet and less influential than it has been. But I think what he does, those drives down the centre of the park are just unbelievable. He wins the ball high up the pitch once again to provide a goal for Tottenham Hotspur, this time the winner in the 100th minute of the game. And the guy just does never run out of energy. He literally just never runs out of energy. Has he got a battery packed it like strapped into him or something? I was just like, what is going on?
Well, the 100th minute, he's pressing the Sheffield United fullback and winning the ball high up the pitch. You remember, what was it, last week against Burnley? I think it was also in the 95th minute. He's doing like a charge down the left-hand side, like beating players. It's like incredible, his energy levels, and that is one of his biggest strengths. I would say, I would agree with you. He wasn't really involved maybe enough in the attacking phases. I don't remember him too much getting to the byline, whipping crosses in or getting shots off or anything like that. There were a few occasions in the first half, especially where he was trying to be that extra man in the centre and trying to get into the box, but wasn't really getting much joy. I think maybe the deep block of Sheffield United were preventing him getting a lot of space there. I didn't think it was a bad game by any stretch. He still played really well, but I think maybe, in other games, I think he's more just offensively. You see him a lot more in the defensive situations, and in this one, I think he was a bit deeper and just maybe covering a bit more of the defensive spaces.
I felt like through general play, he was actually a lot more influential maybe in the first 20 minutes than he probably was throughout the game. I thought he started the game really well, but then kind of, I wouldn't say weaned out of it, because he was still really good throughout the game, but he just wasn't as influential maybe as he was in the first 20 minutes of the game. Moving on to Pape Matar, 7s all round from us. Again, another Duracell bunny or whatever they call them. He is unbelievable, just bundles and bundles and bundles of energy. Within the first 20 minutes, I think he had about 2 shots on target already. And I was thinking, this guy's definitely getting on the score sheet today, but alas, he didn't. But I think he still had a really good display defensively and offensively, causing problems for Sheffield United. And when Bentancur's back fit, he's going to have a hard time getting back into this team.
I thought another really good display from him. I like the fact that he's getting in those positions to take shots even from outside the box, and he's getting them on target, and he's looking threatening, because we need that extra goal threat. I think we need to let the opposition know that, even if you can stop Son or you can stop Kulusevski, we still have another threat coming from midfield, which you have to think about, and that's what Sarr is providing for us at the moment. I think passing wise, I think he kept things more simple. I don't remember too many more adventurous passes that he did. He did have 2 key passes on the day, so he was involved in setting up chances and stuff. So I think it was a really solid display. I think he's had better displays this season, but I was again really happy with him, and I thought contributed to the team really well. I did think it was the right decision to take him off when we did, to provide that little bit more of an attacking edge on the pitch, put Kulusevski in the centre. I think that was the right decision, but I thought throughout the game it was really solid again from Pape.
How great is it to think about these performances from Destiny and Pape Matar, which is probably they're I don't want to say poorest, because poor is not the right word for it, but maybe lowest ranked performances of the season, and they still play like that. How good is it? Amazing. To think?
100%. And it's such a young age to have that kind of baseline, which is very impressive.
Next up is Yves Bissouma, 9s all round for Biss, and I thought he was so vital to us winning the game. First half, there was one moment where he just basically dribbled through the whole of the Sheffield United team. They just didn't know how to get the ball off him. A bit of a poor finish at the end of it, where the keeper did really well, but I think like his dribbling ability for a number 6, I don't know if there's any 6 in the Premier League that has his ability to dribble like Bissouma does. I felt like he just grew in influence as well as the game wore on. Those final 20 minutes when we were 1-0 down, he was just like, just give me the ball, let me do my magic. He was the one. Everything was just going through him. Everything. And he was just so vital. He just took that responsibility on the scruff of the neck, and he was literally just so important for us winning that game, and for me, man the match.
Yeah, phenomenal. And he was so unlucky not to get on the score sheet as well. If he would have scored that could have been goal of the month, or with the ability to,
when he was doing it, I was like, do a Marley. Just
cut back. It's just incredible how good he is he has such good close control as well. The ball seems glued to his feet, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think again, the stats bear out how good his all-round game is, because he won 7 of his 12 ground duels. He completed 4 of his 4 dribbles. He had 3 key passes on the day as well, which was I think third of any Tottenham player. So literally every phase of the game, ball carrying, chance creation, and as well defensive ability, he's literally top of all the metrics. And for a defensive midfielder, it was so impressive for him to do that. And I agree. I think as the game wore on, he was getting more and more influence, and it was so good to see. Like, I think one of the biggest criticisms I had of him at Brighton was he was such a great player, like in the centre of the park, and he was so hard to deal with. But when it came to like actual influence on like final third displays and final third effectiveness, and like actually getting involved in like trying to set up chances and being actually effective for his team getting a goal, I felt like for Brighton that was always something he could improve on. But that seems to be something that he's very much improving on for Tottenham at the moment, and I think he's becoming such an effective player in all phases of the game, and it's so impressive.
Absolutely. Moving on to James Maddison. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. I did think Maddison was good, don't get me wrong, but I just felt like, again, like other players that we talk about with Sarr and Udogie, it was probably his lowest ranked performance of the season so far. There was one great moment when he goes bursting into the box in the first half. I thought he should have done a bit better with that shot, but he was unbelievably creative. Once again, he was like putting through balls to Heung-min Son like it was nobody's problem. He was being very influential on the day. I just felt like he was more sloppy than maybe what he has been over the past 4 or 5 games, but I guess that's just the high bar that he set for himself, to be honest.
I thought he had another strong display, personally. I thought what was really impressed by him in this one more than most other games was his ability off the ball. He was like he was really, really aggressive, and he won 9 of his 13 ground duels, which I think goes to show how good he is off the ball. Maybe he doesn't get enough credit for that. 4 key passes during the day as well, completed 3 of his 5 dribbles, so he was really involved in the attacking phases. I think off the ball he allowed us to sustain pressure on the Sheffield United team as well, with wasn't being a liability off the ball with his pressing. So that was really, really good. Was creating chances throughout the game for a lot of his teammates. I thought his crossing was really, really good. I thought his corners were decent as well. I thought it was a really good display from Maddison. I was pretty happy with him.
Yeah, look, the only criticism I have is just that he was more sloppy on the ball than maybe he has been in previous weeks. But like I said, it's the high bar he sets for himself, and I have no problems with the way he performed, because I still think he had a really good performance. Next up is Dejan Kulusevski. Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. His best display of the season by far, in my opinion. When he was out wide, he was causing Sheffield a lot of problems, but I felt like he really stamped his authority in the game when he moved into the centre of the park. He was absolutely sensational with the way he was playing. I think the stat was 5 key passes on the day or something like that, which is great, more than he's had probably in any game so far this season. And that clutch goal right at the end, that amazing finish to put it in the top corner in a nice reverse shot from Dejan to get us that win in such dramatic circumstances. So great display from Decky.
Yeah, I thought he was probably our brightest forward player throughout the 90 minutes. I was even before his switch to the centre. player. I was really impressed with his ability to create openings in really tight spaces with his really clever passing ability and really come up with creative passes through the lines. His ability to do little clever 1-2s, and even I thought when he did decide to take on the Sheffield United left back Luke Thomas, I thought he did really well, either cutting inside or going on the outside, providing problems for Sheffield United all day. It was very difficult for him to create the good quality chances due to Sheffield United's low block and how many numbers they had in the penalty area, but he still had 5 key passes throughout the game, which goes to show even in those difficult moments he was still able to find solutions. And obviously what a finish for the goal, coming into the central area which he finished the game in, and I thought he looked so creative in that spot, and it was a brilliant finish as well on his right foot, which a lot of people have been calling for him to use more. In a real clutch moment in that 100th minute of the game, to pick the ball up, take a touch, compose himself and fire it into the corner like he did with power. Really, really impressive, and a super display from Kulusevski, and he was my man of the match.
All right, and last but not least from the start, well, not last but not least actually, penultimate player is Heung-min Son. Sim gives him a 7, I gave him a 6, and I thought he put a lot of effort into this game. He really did, but it was difficult for him to make a real impact in the game because every time he got the ball advancing up the pitch, he just had about 4 or 5 Sheffield United players around him all the time. But that did free up space around the pitch for the likes of Kulusevski and Solomon at times. But yeah, it was just difficult performance for him. I think that maybe he should have done a bit better with a few moments that were presented to him from James Maddison with a few poor touches here and there. But I thought he worked really hard for the team, and I think we got a lot better in terms of attacking when he did go off and Richarlison came on.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision to take him off. What I'll say about Son is I felt like for his skill set and what he could provide to the team, I think he was probably doing the right things throughout the game. He was dropping a bit deeper, trying to get involved in the game, taking a few long shots from range where we know he can be deadly. There was a couple of occasions where he actually did have a couple of opportunities to get in on goal, but his touch let him down, and if his touch would have been better, maybe he could have made more of those opportunities. I think he was trying his best, but I just didn't think this game suited his style of how he was going to play that number 9 position, and I think he lacked a bit of presence in the box, which changed when Richarlison came on. And I think it was the right decision to probably take him off when we did, but I think he did all right for the player that he is in that situation.
And last but not least of the starting 11, Manor Solomon. On Jewish New Year, Manor Solomon put in a lovely display for us. Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 7. I thought he was actually our best creative outlet in the first half, causing no ends of problems down that left-hand side. His dribbling ability was on show, but I just felt it was a bit frustrating, his end product, to be honest, throughout the game. In the opening 60 minutes, I thought, you know, he was providing really good moments for the team. Just that when he was getting in those positions to shoot, when he was getting in those positions to cross, I just felt he was found lacking a little bit. But I definitely give him high marks for effort, high marks for application on the pitch. It was just when he got into those positions to shoot, I mean, he just kept skying them over the bar.
Yeah, I thought it was a strong showing from Solomon. I actually thought his shooting was decent. I thought he was unlucky with a few attempts. A lot of them were quite close. One of them hit the stanchion. Another one forced a really good save out Fodringham. I was very impressed with his ability to generate power with a short back lift, especially with the one when he was dribbled through the centre and then he took the shot in the D just outside the box and it forced a good save out Fodringham. I thought a couple of occasions as well he was going around the outside and causing problems for the Sheffield United fullback. There was one cross I remember which Son got on the end of. It was a good ball from Solomon, but Son couldn't really make the most of with his heading ability. And I thought he did quite well up until he got taken off. But I did think he was running out of steam when he did get taken off, and it was the right decision. And obviously Perisic came on and provided some good service. So another positive display from Solomon, getting more involved in the attacking phase as well. But it'd be nice for him to get a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a few Israelis sitting around me yesterday and they were literally just dying for Manor to score yesterday, but it didn't happen. But he still had a really good game. Let's move on to the substitutes. We're going to start talking about Richarlison first. Sim gives him a 9 and I gave him a big fat 10. I mean, what more does he need to do to get a 10? Come on, with 20 minutes to go, 1-0 down and lay off a goal and an assist to win 2-1 in such dramatic circumstances. I mean, I felt like he was a bit wasteful before he did get that goal. But after he got that goal, I felt like the confidence was oozing out of him and his link-up play was really good. Lovely pass to Dejan Kulusevski for the final goal when we won 2-1. And obviously he took that header really well. He did miss a header just moments before where maybe he should have done a bit better from. but I thought he gave us such a good presence in that middle of the box and gave us the option that maybe Son wasn't giving us.
Yeah, I think he gave us exactly the threat that we were missing, and that was a physical presence inside the box where we could swing crosses in and have someone to aim at. And I thought he was really up for the physical battle. He seemed to be intent on making a difference. He had that header just over the bar just before he scored, but he was just causing a nuisance for Sheffield United, and he caused problems which they weren't facing before he came on, and that was the most positive thing. I thought he took his goal really well, brilliant header from the corner, and then really good presence of mind to pick out Kulusevski for the assist as well. And I think the stat that probably highlights what he brought is that he came on in 20 minutes and he won 3 of his 5 aerial duels, and that was second in the whole team, only to Van de Ven, who won 5 aerial duels throughout the day. So I think that probably shows what a difference in terms of the attacking presence that he had compared to what we had before, and it's exactly what we needed. And I think his presence probably what won us the game.
Absolutely. And Ivan Perisic, Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 9. Again, he came on and gave us exactly what we needed with his crossing ability. Really great. I mean, he put in a number of good crosses on the day, even ones that just no one could make a connection to. Just lovely balls just going into the box time and time again after he came on. Obviously, his corner, that Richarlison, I don't know where the marking was for Richarlison, to be honest, but a great delivery. And obviously, he's the one that played the ball to Richarlison to play it into to Kulusevski as well. So I thought he provided exactly, both him and Richarlison pretty much just provided exactly what we needed in that moment of the game to go and win that game and ask different questions than what we were asking previously.
Yeah, and what I really liked about his performance is that every time he got the ball, he seemed to get a cross off. His crosses weren't getting blocked. He wasn't too interested in trying to beat his man or create the space. He was just trying to create a little half a yard just to get the ball in, and more often than not, the ball had a lot of quality on it, and that's what we needed, just that little bit of extra finesse and quality from the wide areas which he provided. I thought, the corner for Richarlison was great, and also that little clever flick around the corner to find Richarlison for the second goal as well was really underrated, because it was very quick thinking, and it created that space for Richarlison to go on and create the goal as well, and that's underrated, that little touch from him as well. And I thought he just added that touch of quality and class off the bench, which really helped us get over the line in a really good cameo display. And that's run comes along from a series of good cameo displays now from Perisic.
Because he has such quality in his age, obviously, like to come on in those last 10 minutes for us when we're really pushing for the goal, he's got that star quality in that foot, in that leg, that he could just whip in a ball from anywhere on that left-hand side, and it's such a great option for us to have, to be honest. And with Richarlison, who obviously is much better with his head than he is with his feet, it's just a really good combination to have to come off the bench when we're really struggling to really break a team down. So great stuff. Next up, Emerson Royale. He also came on for Pedro Porro in the last stage of the game. 6s all round, and I thought it was a bright cameo. He was providing some good option for us with a lot of energy when Porro was clearly tiring in the game, and he just gave us that just a new sense of energy really on that right hand side.
Yeah, I think his job was pretty much just to prevent any counter-attacks from Sheffield United at that point. Porro was tiring. We needed some extra legs. I don't think he provided too much going forward, but defensively he just kept up the intensity and the pressure on Sheffield United, and it provided a good option for the team.
Next up, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 7s all round from us, and when he came on, the game was a bit nuts, and I felt like when he came on, he gave us that bit more calm in the midfield and gave us that air of, just chill out, guys. We're going to get this done. And that's exactly what happened. And he had his say in the last goal as well. He's the one that started the move. So brilliant. I thought it was a really good cameo from Pierre.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I think another player who's coming on and providing a cameo for the team with a bit of experience, and I thought it was a really clever move from Ange Postecoglou to move him into midfield next to BISSOUMA and just really force the issue on Sheffield United, throw caution to the wind and push the players up, and I think it worked. He was involved in the second goal. He helped out Udogie winning the ball back and then gave it over to Perisic, who played it into Richarlison, and we obviously got the goal. And then obviously he moved into centre-back for the last couple of minutes of the game when we really needed him to just make sure that we get over the line, and I thought he did that really, really well. So I was really happy with Pierre again. Another good cameo from him.
And last but not least, big Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. I thought like we were very unlucky not to be in the lead before Sheffield United took took their lead, to be honest. And I think testament to the way Ange set us up and the team he selected, I thought everything was pretty spot on. Maybe he could have gone with Son out left and Richarlison up top, but I'm not going to make too many complaints about that, because those were the subs that really impacted the game and helped us to go on and win the game in such dramatic circumstances. And like I said, the subs were absolutely spot on, bringing on Perisic and Richarlison at the time that we needed them. I thought Højbjerg as well was a really good sub, and also Emerson even added something to the tiring legs of Pedro Porro. So I think every sub was pretty much spot on. And it's not just the game, but it's just everything to do with Ange and the way he's transformed this club from top to bottom, to be honest. And I can't have higher praise for the man. He's done everything absolutely perfectly since he's come in, apart from maybe nine changes in that Fulham game.
Yeah, what a man, honestly. I'm just loving every second of Ange Ball and Ange Postecoglou at the moment. He's getting all the big calls right. He got the subs absolutely spot on. I think that the team that we set up, I think maybe in hindsight, we maybe should have started Richarlison in this game, but off the back of Son scoring a hat-trick, you can't really blame him too much. I mean, we predicted Son to start anyway, so it's not like I'm criticising him, but I think logically, we said before the game, maybe Richarlison was better suited to this kind of game, and that probably bore out in the in how the game went. But I think by and large, he got everything absolutely spot on. I think that he timed the subs to perfection with knowing the amount of time that we were going to have left over in stoppage time. I thought we were the better team overall anyway. And then obviously after the game, you see that, you know, how the connection between the fans and the players is so tight, and that's the kind of togetherness he's brought. And I'm absolutely loving every second of it, and hope it continues for a long time.
All right, so Brennan Johnson gets a 7 all round from us. I thought it was a really good cameo. I thought he came on with energy, skill as well. He got in behind for that goal, which he took really well, which was a slightly offside. But apart from that, he was getting the ball and he was causing problems on that right-hand side. A bundle of energy, like I said, and he was even dribbling through some of the Sheffield United players. And I thought he gave us exactly what we needed at that time as well. And like we keep saying, I think he can provide a really good threat for us when we play teams that play a high line.
Yeah, and you can see his pace is electric, and he actually had a goal and an assist ruled out, because he had an assist ruled out because of the foul that he made just before the assist. Was probably the right decision. Obviously, the offside was offside, but you saw how well he took that offside goal. Brilliant touch to take into his path, and then he just waited for the keeper to dive early and was able to slot it in the other way, and that was a really, really nice moment for him. And I just thought on the right-hand side, he was causing him a lot of trouble with his pace, and again, provided a different threat to what Kulusevski offered, and that was really, really good to see. And I think hopefully it's a sign of the different kind of unpredictable threats we can now have in our attack.
Absolutely.